Welcome to Paper Podcast. In this short little episode, this is geared to compliance for bankers on how I look at insights of actively monitoring high risk accounts. FDIC, OCC, they have regulatory standards in regards to banking and BSA. So much of it is written in a little bit of gray area. So when it's written in that gray area where you've got to they always have a thing, your policies and procedures need to be commensurate with your level of risk. Well, who's the ultimate de facto that says this is your risk and you had to do this, you had to do that? There's so much that is up to opinion. And so the way I look at it is when we're banking an industry and we have a regulatory framework, I want to exceed that framework. So there is absolutely no question that we're following the pillars. We're going through everything here. But in addition to the pillars, we're going to be of and knowing our customer. I'll give you an example of if the banks that were banking FTX on their deposits actually did that, they wouldn't have been surprised by losing that $1 billion of deposits in regards to FTX, because they would have gone and looked at their KYC, their AML policies, and actually looked and see if it was a canned report that they just copy pasted. They paid a firm to just give them policies and procedures. It is so easy to tell when that happens. Did it make sense for them in the levels? And then spot check it. Ask for examples of where that threshold came into place. People bought X amount of cryptocurrency, and at that point, did you source funds? Let me see that example. And then timing. If they can't provide it to you within a day or two, then there's red flags right there. Then they don't have their sources. So, I'm positive they did not go through that level of integration, and is just, it really irks me. I feel like we're held to a higher standard being a smaller bank, because when we get audited, you can easily look at 80, 90% of our portfolios to where you're a bank that's 15, 20 billion in size. What are you looking at? 10%, 15%. So maybe there's a lot they can hide, but, we're always an open book when we get audited. So, the best way to me is there's so much, I think, gray area and opinions and coming in here and risks that, as a bank, you owe it. You got to go above and beyond. So there is, absolutely no doubt that you're going past that level. And, if you hate doing it, then maybe that's a sector that you shouldn't be involved in. If you're going above and beyond and you find that it's not cost effective, then that's an area that you shouldn't be banking in. How do we approach these guidance? Well, in regards to BSA, your customer. But in addition to that, you've got to know your customer's customers. So you can go beyond and depending on what they're selling. So, just since crypto is out in the mainstream and, everybody's got a opinion on it. If you have a customer that their primary line of business is selling cryptocurrency, then you need to know their customers. You need to get the blockchain transactions. You need to run your own analysis. It's not just enough to know that your customer has a policy and procedure. You need to test their policies and procedures. You need to do it yourself on top of it. At intervals, grab all their information, make it a requirement that you can see into their systems and see all the transactions and that their staff are doing what they say they're doing. Because, I've seen all too many times people hide behind procedures and it's, form over function. Well, to me, it's got to make sense. So you've got to have function. It's got to overlay. Just having buzzwords and saying you're doing something, you need to prove that they're actually doing it. Do it yourself and see if you come out with the same suspicious activity to the same volume. If you're having a team that is looking into your customers, they need to understand that industry and to see if things make sense. They need to also have common sense. They need to be trained in BSA, what is legal, what is not legal, and ultimately have some common sense to know. And when you spot check one section, maybe the next quarter you don't spot check the same section. You go to another one. To truly audit, you keep mixing it up and seeing different sectors of that, your customer's business. You have the foundation of the same audits that you're doing each time, but then you dive in deeper to each section. Banks are very familiar with having committees for originating new loans, but also you should have committees in regards into reviewing your high-risk accounts, having those discussions, having tabletop discussions on them when you're onboarding them and after the fact monthly, during SAR committee, during non-SARS you follow up. So, just having that tabletop discussion about the customers like you would bringing what you have learned in the loan committee industry, that goes so much into the rest of banking. Use that same format in your checking accounts and any of the high risk accounts. Bring that over there. All your divisions. If you're doing merchant services, you need to have the committees that oversee and look at all your customers. Just take what you know and in lending and parlay that and sunbird it into your other forms of banking. It's, honestly, it's not rocket science. You follow a pattern, go through it. That's it. If you have any granular questions, please reach out to me. I'm happy to share time and resources to you. If you're looking to build a program, whether you're looking into BAS, tackle other areas of compliance, reach out anytime. You can use the same frameworks in other banks to then build upon products and services in the rest of your bank. Thanks for watching the Paper Podcast. If you're liking what you're hearing, if there's additional areas of compliance or additional areas of products and services and banking that you would like to go deeper in, please make comment. Feel free to reach out via email. Let me know your thoughts. And thank you. Hit the subscribe button. And, until next time. Thank you.